Hey guys, it's Daniel here, finally back with a brand new movie review. Yeah, I know, it's been a while, but I'm finally back and on the
Halloween movie review.
So, who exactly are Wallace and Gromit? And I think that's pretty much a stupid question for British people out there, because I'm pretty sure everybody knows who Wallace and Gromit are. But if you don't, I'll go for a quick history. Wallace and Gromit are an animated claymation duo made up of the famous cheese-loving inventor Wallace and his silent, mute but intelligent dog Gromit, as they both solve mysteries, play banter off each other, help each other through conflict, and have appeared in many films and TV shows along the way, mainly for 4 short films and 1 feature-length film. I love these short films so much, but I'll tell you how I got introduced to Wallace and Gromit. It's through the movie I'm about to review today, that being their first ever feature-length film, the spooky 2005 horror film with the culmination of DreamWorks Animation and Aardman Animation, the people behind Wallace and Gromit, that film being Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. So, in Wallace and Gromit's first feature-length movie, Wallace and Gromit are pest controllers who humanely remove rabbits from human gardens so that they can stop the rabbits from eating all of the garden vegetables from all of their neighbours at a most important time for their neighbours when the village is hosting a vegetable growing contest. One of the clients that Wallace ends up falling in love with is the wealthy Lady Tottington, who Wallace will later call Totty, who deeply appreciates their work and has a humane behaviour for animals. She cares about them so much, so that's what she admires about Wallace. But this little, tension between them is going to be cut short because a rude, loudmouth hunter named Victor Quatermain, who wants to wed Lady Tottington for her cash, shoots rabbits on sight, much to Lady Tottington's disagreement. So in order to protect the rabbits from Victor, Wallace creates a machine to brainwash the rabbits into hating vegetables, and it seems to be a huge success. But unfortunately, a lot of his inventions goes wrong, and this time his invention has really screwed up as it creates a giant monster known as the Were-Rabbit, who's going around eating vegetables at any sight, so that's really compromising the competition. So now it's up to Wallace and Gromit to go find the Were-Rabbit before the competition starts. But along the way, romance happens, conflict with this hunter, and Gromit discovers something more secretive and surprising about this situation. So, back in 2015, when I first saw this movie for the first time, it was my first introduction to Wallace and Gromit. I mean, I had heard of Wallace and Gromit before, but never actually watched any of the movies. But when I saw The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, I instantly fell in love with them, and that's how I ended up falling in love with the short films, so I watched the movie before I watched the short films. So now, after years and years and years of being in love with this movie, I watched it again for this review, and is it still as good as I remember? For the most part, yes it is. I still think that it is a really, really great animated movie. Now the question you may be wondering is, does this formula of Wallace and Gromit work as the best 30-minute short? I'm kind of indifferent about it. I mean, in some cases, okay, it might be good for a short film, but at the same time, they expand it into something even bigger because, honestly, the short films were already cinematic at a big, high-paced level, thanks to its creator, Nick Park. So I will admit that Nick Park did a good job bringing this claymation duo to a feature-length adaptation of the short films, and it just adds into a great kind of story and with very good characters involved. Speaking of characters, let's talk about the characters. So let's start off with the title duo themselves, Wallace and Gromit. Wallace is definitely a likeable, belovable oaf that you can definitely connect with. He has a few little issues now and again with his inventions, and his overweightness due to his habit of eating cheese, or as he likes to refer to it as cheese. But he's still likable and you can connect to some of his situation, and whenever he's in peril, you really hope for his safety and you just want him to make it out of the situation, and you do root for him to get with Lady Tottington by the end of the film. But of course, the one who really steals the show, besides Wallace, is Gromit, who, in my opinion, has to be the most interesting character in the franchise. Why? Well, he's a dog of no words. He never says a single word. Most of his character is just using body language, with having no mouth, only just a nose on the edge. And I've always fallen in love with him. I love how, even with no words, you can definitely tell how much emotion is given by a silent dog. But you can also tell that he's really into the situation, he's really into solving the mystery, and when he does solve the mystery, he really fears for his best friend Wallace, and also how he and Lady Tottington cares about animals, so that's why he has a little apprehensive on what to do about the whole were-rabbit problem, and that's why he's such a lovable character, because he always has to rescue Wallace. And the relationship between Wallace and Gromit is dynamic. I mean, they get into some disagreements, but overall they're still family, they still respect each other like best friends should, and they always come to help each other now and again by the end of the film. And Peter Sallis is still amazing as Wallace. It's such a shame that he was taken away from us back in 2017, because I don't think anybody else could play Wallace better than Peter Sallis did. He was Wallace. Now we've got some new characters, and I absolutely loved all of those new characters. Well, one of them I am a bit iffy about, and I'll get to that character real soon, but most of them I love. Lady Tottington is a fantastic new addition to the franchise. Why? Because despite how wealthy and posh she is, she's not an uptight snob. She does admire Wallace's humane nature to the animals. She finds him very funny. She develops a crush on him later on, and you can just tell how this pressure into saying, oh, the were-rabbit has to be killed, really starts to make her feel crushed inside, because she's that passionate about animals. And she also has devoted herself to hosting this giant vegetable competition herself, because it's been a Tottington family tradition for years. That's what makes Totty such a fantastic character, and you just want to see Wallace and Totty get together by the end of the movie. And I will admit that the ending to their relationship at the end, I feel like it's pretty new. I'm not exactly sure how to call it, but it is pretty new from what I'm trying to think of. And I think Helena Bonham Carter does a fantastic job voicing this character, definitely making her feel very posh and gentle for a woman, but also having that unique, giddy side to her more beat lines. The townspeople mostly are fantastic. I cannot stop laughing at these characters. This is a really grand kind of cast, because the first three shorts were mostly just Wallace, with the exception of the third film, A Close Shave, when they introduced Wendelin. But now we have even more human characters that just made everything so much more hilarious and joyful to watch. Like Mrs. Munch, the woman growing a giant pumpkin for the vegetable competition. The main joke of her character is that she loves her pumpkin so much that she treats it like it's her baby. And there is a funny scene where she rides around in a baby cart. I also think the police officer, or the colonel, I don't know exactly what to call him, but he's also hilarious, using his, different lines that just makes everything much more funnier. But two of my favourite supporting characters in the entire film are, first off, the vicar, who... wow. What an oaf. What a lovable oaf. But also making some of the funniest giddies.
To kill such a creature would require nerves of steel and a bullet. A bullet? A bullet? What kind of bullet? A bullet of pure gold. Gold, yes. 24 carat.
The other one, Hutch the Rabbit. I won't go into too much detail about why he's hilarious, but trust me, he's a gas to watch, especially like when he gets the final funny scene in the film, which he definitely deserved. Let's also talk about the animation. This animation was obviously again done by the well-known British animated film company Aardman, who I definitely love a lot of their movies. They definitely create very unique opportunities and personalities to these claymation puppets, and Wallace and Gromit is what started the big fameness that Aardman created, thanks to Nick Park, who created the first Wallace and Gromit short as a graduation project. But Aardman actually helped them create that graduation project, and now they started co-oping with each other, and now they brought their claymation duo to the big screen, and the animation is definitely fluid and expressive, and they definitely have upgraded since the original shorts, because look at Wallace. Now look at Wallace in the original shorts. Ooh, they definitely have upgraded their opportunities. And also, I love the different genres that this film takes, like mystery, a little horror, comedy, and drama. Comedy, for example, is mostly just a riot. I mean, I could not stop laughing throughout this movie. I laughed so many times, especially with the townspeople, Hutch, just made me feel like I was about to die. But the drama especially is very well done, because you care about these characters, they're so lovable. And also the mystery aspect is engaging to watch, because I will not give away the reveal of what exactly the were-rabbit is, but let's just say it added more emotional tension and action to this adventure. So, a lot of that was definitely a best thing about the movie. That must mean I love the movie. 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, it's just an epic masterpiece, right? Well, while I do love the film, it did have some problems that I didn't notice when I watched it before, but I did start to notice now. First off, I will admit that some parts of the film felt a little cliché, and I can't deny how pretty predictable some parts of the film takes. The film is about a lovable oaf who falls in love with a rich high-class person, but another person wants to marry her just for her fortune, and so this person goes on a quest to prove himself, but they both realise that they love each other for who they are. Yeah, you start to notice the track here, and while I do love Totty and Wallace's relationship, I will admit the one thing that does bring it to a bit of a halt is that they do have to have a bit of a misunderstanding in the third act. Again, I won't give away how they had the misunderstanding, but it did kind of feel predictable. I did feel sorry for the characters, but did kind of feel predictable. But really, that predictableness isn't really, like, a big issue, it's just a pretty minor issue. I think the main issue that I recognise now than I did when I was younger watching the movie has to be how predictable and underwhelming Victor Quartermain makes for a villain. Now, don't get me wrong, he can be funny in a lot of hilarious scenarios. You do want to see him get his comeuppance because you realise that, oh my god, he's putting Wallace and Gromit in danger, and I think Voldemort himself, Ralph Fiennes, does an amazing job of bringing this character to life. But his motivations and behaviour is way too predictable. He's yet another egocentric, up-class snob/bully who wants to wed someone or do some big task just to receive recognition and money. Yeah, how did that person from the Tom and Jerry movie put it?
We've got to have money.
Why couldn't he be in the movie? I guess I didn't really recognise this issue when I was younger because I was too busy laughing at him getting humiliated, and that's fine for a younger audience, but nowadays, while I do still laugh at him getting humiliated, I have come to recognise how cliché he really is. He's not bad, but his personality and motivations I feel like could have been a little better. However, while Victor is okay but not that great of a villain, his dog, Philip, is another character who's a riot because he's meant to be like a tough dog, but deep down inside he's pretty coward, he's pretty pathetic, and he does a few things that tough dogs wouldn't do. My favourite scene with him is when he pulls out a girl's purse. Wow. That's freaking hilarious. Overall, guys, I still had a blast watching Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. It definitely exceeds the height of the short films. It definitely reminded me of how I love Wallace and Gromit to begin with. The characters are still lovable, the voice acting is solid, her comedy is fantastic, the animation is smart, and Nick Park and Aardman Studios definitely brought life. Sure, a few things are cliche, and the villain is a bit underwhelming, but it's still a fantastic movie, and I will give it a 4 out of 5. It's definitely a heck of a movie, and you should watch it if you're a fan of Wallace and Gromit. But if you haven't seen the film or the Wallace and Gromit series before, I'd say watch the short films first, and then make your way into this movie. But anyway, what do you think of the movie? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And what's your favourite Wallace and Gromit short? Let me know in the comment section below. And happy Halloween! Hope to get more videos done, and I'm Daniel reviewing movies, TV shows, and doing videos. Till then, peace out, man! Rawr.